The Paterno thing is rough. It should be Pixel Junkie writes the Joe Paterno statue should be melted down and turned into a spittoon. For those of you that don't know what a spittoon is, it's for people that chew tobacco and need to spit. They spit in the little metal or whatever thing, and you hear the little ding every time the spit goes into it. Well, that's actually in cartoons. You hear the little ding.
Yeah.
But I think that at this point, with everything that's been said and everything that's been found out, you got to take it down.
No, absolutely. You definitely have to take it down.
You just have to. I hate saying that, too.
It's just because you know that statue, they pretty much said football is above everything else. That's what Penn State was saying between those four gentlemen, that those four higher-ups put the program ahead of what is right and what is wrong. Now, I can kind of understand it a little bit because you're trying to help out a friend and you're not trying to tarnish the university or anything like that. But when it comes to right and wrong, you gotta. You were supposed to do your job back in 1998. You should have came forward and told everybody what was going on instead of sweeping it underneath the rug. And now we're discussing it when you're dead.
Yeah.
And we don't want to disrespect Joe Paterno, especially since he cannot defend himself. And, the family had to come out and make a statement and say, hey, we understand what's going on. And good job by Free, because he was blatantly even saying, too, in the Free report, saying, no, we're not trying to disrespect Joe Paterno in any way, but these are the facts. This is what's coming out. And the family really said, we appreciate the facts coming out. We're not being disrespected, but, our father, Joe Paterno's not here to defend himself, and there's a lot of what ifs. There really are, and we don't know really the truth behind everything.
No, we don't. And from Paterno's point of view, we'll never know the truth. And I look at it like this. If you were going to ask me to think of Joe Paterno and strictly think football, and that's the only thing I'm thinking, Joe Paterno still is one of the greatest football coaches ever. All the years he put in, all the players he, affected positively, all the guys he helped make NFL careers out of their dream.
Correct.
He's a great football coach. But when it comes down to it and how we're judged as people, what you do in your job is only a small portion on how people are going to judge you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what has been said and the facts that have been found, Joe Paterno as a person made a lot of very bad decisions.
And this one might have been the worst decision of his life.
I
don't know. I can't clearly say that since I personally don't know Joe Paterno, but obviously you trying to cover up this big scandal is not a good thing.
Yeah, and we mentioned it yesterday, I'm really close friends with Sandusky, so obviously trying to help a friend out. But when your morals become involved, no friend should be above it. Okay, because when the day ends, you have to lay and deal with yourself before you have to deal with anybody else. And if you throw your morals to the curb for anybody, it's really hard to live with yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really hard to be happy with the person you are because you're going to say to yourself, look at the person I am.
And I can guarantee, I can't guarantee, but I think Paterno probably went through his head saying over and over again, this is going to come back and bite me in the ass one day.
Oh, I bet you he did. Oh, I'm sure he did. I'll go with the guarantee. I will. Because you know what? Every person outside of the people that are clinically insane are the ones that are in jail with no remorse. Any person that does something bad to other people or watches something bad to other people and doesn't do anything to stop it, they know they're doing something wrong. You know you're doing something wrong.
Correct.
Unless you're clinically sick or you're in jail and you have no regrets of what you did to put yourself there, you know you're doing something wrong and it bothers you.
And they were also saying that back in 98 when Sandusky actually retired, that there was a huge payout for him, which made things a little unusual.
More shady?
It was shady, but nobody really said anything because of the high amount.
Yeah.
And the other thing that people are really calling for the NCAA to give Penn State the death penalty on this. Do you really see the NCAA really stepping in and doing something about it? Is this even in the NCAA's power to step in and do anything about it?
I will say this much. If it's in their power, I expect them to step in and do that. You know what? USC, apparently Reggie Bush took money or whatever from boosters while in college.
And therefore,
USC loses its national championship. Reggie loses his Heisman. They lose the ability to play in bowl games. They lose scholarships. Okay? They lose all this, and all he did was try to take a little money ahead of time to help mom out, or to help dad out, or to help himself out a little bit. This involves molesting and raping kids. So if NCAA has the power to step in, then they need to step in and beat on this team. I'm sorry. I had a problem with what they did to USC. I've had an issue with how NCAA steps in and does things like this to other schools. But if there's any moment for them to step in and do this to a school, this is the moment. Sandusky has the inmates at the prison daily singing Pink Floyd's The Wall song, quote, "Hey teacher, leave them kids alone." That's terrible. That's just terrible. But he's going to get what he deserves. We mentioned this the other day. You know what? People in jail, the murderers, the armed robbers have standards. And the worst people to them are child molesters and women beaters.
Yep.
So you know what? Jerry Sandusky is not going to have any friends.
He's not going to have fun in jail.
Inside of jail. And I hope he doesn't get to stay in one of those luxury prisons that they give to people with money. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but they literally have luxury prisons that you pay to be in. And these things are like freaking hotels.
Yeah,
they have swimming pools, clean basketball
that's
courts,
messed up, bro.
Fresh beds with fresh linens.
You're in jail. There should be no, glitzy, fancy jail. Screw that. I don't care how rich you are. There should be no fancy, glitzy, ritzy jail.
I'm with Pixel. Throw him right into the population, and DJ R&B makes the perfect statement. He will be somebody's lady in jail. I'm not gonna. No offense. I can't use that word.
You know what's really impressive though, about all this is that even still, after all this drama that's gone on at Penn State, they are still in the. I believe they're in the top 15 in recruiting classes for football still. Top 15 in the nation.
It's one of the most history
crazy
franchises
to me,
in the world. I'm with you on that though, because as a parent, obviously me and you have no idea how that feels to be a parent yet. But as a parent, I can't fathom parents saying, "Yeah, I'm cool with you going there."
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
I don't care that you're old enough that you can, try to defend yourself, or you're smart enough to know not to hop into a shower with some old perverted dude. It doesn't matter. The point of the matter is the fact that I don't want my son or my girl, whatever you have, name attached with that school at this time.
At this time.
You know what? 10 years from now, 15 years from now, when it's in the past, I'll live with it. I'll be okay if that's where my son wants to go or my daughter wants to go. But, dude, I'd rather you go play football for Lane Kiffin, and I think that guy's a giant a-hole. I do. What he did to Tennessee, I will never think that was right. I'm sorry. I just never will. But, yeah, you know what, Pixel? I'm with you on that, man. That one's crazy, but that's head over heels love. It really is. Yeah, that's what that is. His wife stood right by. For those listening in the app world, our buddy Pixel Junkie writes that what's crazy is his wife stood right by his side, knowing very well he put his hands on their stepson, and that's true. And he was proven guilty in a court of law for something like that. So we're gonna say it's true. We weren't standing there, so we don't know everything. But what we do know is he was proven guilty, and that's what matters. But. You know what? This is something that you can go into for hours and hours on end.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You're never going to really get a clear, straight opinion because it's too touchy of a subject, in my opinion. I don't know how to give my opinion on this one. I really don't. I'm so torn.
It's all right. Statue up or statue down?
Statue down. You cannot have a statue up of a guy that hid these things. And if it's true, statue down. You know what? You find out 20 years from now that he really didn't hide these things and that this whole report that came out isn't true, then put the statue back up for what? Because
from what I understand, one of the last things he was quoted on saying is, I should have done more. I should have done more.
Yeah. Well, if he's admitting he should have done, statue down. You got it. You know what? If you want to do something for what he did, in We're actually might have to talk to Alex about that especially when football gets here, man, because football Fridays.
No, there's a show Friday, 12 to 2.
Well, we're going to have to talk to those people. I'm just kidding. But either which way, yeah, we've reached that end point, ladies and gentlemen. If you have, if you want to write some comments or say anything, you can actually go to our website. This is sportszone.com. I actually wrote an article yesterday on Paterno. I don't know if I believe I posted. Yeah, I posted it. All right, yeah. So I wrote an article yesterday on what's going on with Paterno and stuff. And you guys can feel free to hop on the website. There's a little comment box below the article that that's written. And you guys can leave some comments there. And honestly, based on what's left and what happens, if you guys leave some good comments, then maybe Monday I'll come back. I'll read some of the comments. And if we get into it, we get into it. If not, we at least give you guys credit on air for writing onto the website.